This lesson is on triangles. So the angles of a triangle have a sum of 180 degrees. To find the missing measure, we have to use this and whatever given information that we have, as well as possibly some, other information as well. So let's take a look. Here, I know that this is a 90-degree angle because I've got the little box that shows that it's a right angle, and this is 30. So I know that 90 plus 30 plus whatever this is has to add up to 180. So 90 plus 30 is 120 total. If I take 180 minus 120, I should get the angle that's left, which is of course 60 degrees. A 30, 60, 90 triangle is actually a pretty famous triangle because there are some special properties to do with the 30, 60, 90 that you will learn about later. For my other question, I've got just one angle, and that makes it difficult to find the other two because I don't know. I know what they would add up to because I know that 180 minus 55 is going to be 125. So I know they add up to 125, but I don't know what each of them are. But I do have this other angle out here that is 100, and that can help me because notice this is a straight line, and if these two have to add up to 180, that means this one must be 80 degrees. So now I'm just going to subtract 80 from 125 to find that my final angle is 45 degrees. Oftentimes we're asked to classify triangles, and one way that we classify them is by the type of angle that they have. So the first one, obviously a right triangle because I have this right angle box. So we classify it because it has a right angle. An acute triangle has three angles that are all acute, and acute means that they are less than 90 degrees. So all of these angles are less than 90. And an obtuse triangle has one angle that is greater than 90 degrees. So we have one that's exactly 90 degrees, we have all are less than 90, or we have one that's over 90 degrees. So this one obviously is greater than 90 because 90 would be here, and obviously it's bigger than that. So that's an obtuse triangle. The other way that we classify them is by the measure of their sides, or possibly how many equal angle measures they have. So the first is an isosceles triangle, and notice I'm using these little lines here. Those lines mean that this line, this side, and this side, or the two legs of this triangle, are congruent to one another. In addition, this angle and this angle are congruent every time you have an isosceles triangle. So an isosceles means two equal sides and two equal angles that are across from those sides. So notice this angle opens up to this side and this angle opens up to this side. Those are the two that are congruent. My next one is an equilateral triangle. Equilateral means all three sides are congruent. It also means all three angles are congruent. And of course, we know they have to add up to 180, so these all have to be 60 degrees. And the last one is a scalene, and in a scalene triangle, all three sides are different lengths, all three angles are different measures. So a couple of practice for you. What I'd like you to do is find the missing measures of the triangles and also to classify each by their sides and angles. So for my first, note that I've got a 55 and a 75. So I have to add those together, 55 and 75, which would be 130. So I know that this is then 50 degrees because 180 minus 130 is 50. What kind of sides does this have? There are three different sides that have different measures, and I know that because the three angles are all different. So this would be acute because all three measures are less than 90. It would also be scalene because all three sides are different measures. For my next example, notice I didn't give you any of the angle measures, but I did give you this right here, which is 90 degrees. I also gave you these two little lines. So the two little lines tell me those two sides are equal and those two angles are equal. And so if this is 90, that means these two have to be equal and also add up to 90 to make it 180 total, which means this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle, another very famous triangle. Obviously, this is a right triangle because one of my angles is right. It's also isosceles because two sides are congruent and two angles are congruent. So it's a right isosceles.